So, as a sports writer, that was what you went into first out of school, right?
Correct.
So, did you actually go out and interview and talk with the athletes themselves, or what kind of sports writing did you do?
I did. It is, for a sports geek like me, it was no disrespect to any job I've had, but it is the most fun set of jobs I've ever had in my life. So yes, I did. I did everything. I did writing, editing, web, magazine, daily newspapers, both in New York and in the Bay Area, Oakland and San Francisco, respectively. But yeah, I did NBA, NFL, not much baseball, and a lot of college sports. And you move up through the ranks through high school. You have to cover the preps. But because I was in California, in the Bay Area, a lot of the West Coast work would fall to me too. So for example, I used to freelance for Slam magazine. When you and I first met, I was actually writing for Slam magazine still.
Okay.
And then the kids came. I said, okay, we need to maybe chill out a little bit on that. I don't have enough time. But they're all based in New York. So anything west of the Mississippi, hey, we need you to do something with the Blazers or Lakers or the Kings or the Warriors. I say, sure. They don't have to fly anyone out. I'll just handle that. But yeah, it was a fun ride. But I also realized growing up in Silicon Valley that it may not be sustainable. And there's other opportunities too.
Who was the biggest celebrity athlete that you met that kind of blew your mind?
Can I say three of them?
Sure.
I would say Jerry Rice, Kevin Garnett, and Jason Kidd. And Jason Kidd was over the phone. Kevin Garnett was in the locker room. And Jerry Rice was also on the phone. And they're all for completely different stories, different conversations. But what struck me about all three, the reason why I named three of them, is the profound thought process that they have as human beings, not just as athletes, that you never see covered by transactional journalists. So in other words, they actually can think deep. They actually care about family. They actually care about certain things. It's not just points per game or yak or any of those types of stats. So Jerry Rice was a conversation about his nephew. His name is Darius Rice, played basketball at University of Miami. And that was really what the story was about, was what does Uncle Jerry think about him, especially when he used to play in the front yard or on the driveway playing ball one-on-one when he was little. And the funny story, just I'll say real quick, is someone answered the phone. I don't know if it's a maid or a servant. Someone answers the phone. It was a lady. And I explained what I'm trying to get to, because you don't normally call his house. And then she goes, yeah, just a second, I'll go get him. Well, I must have sat on the phone for at least 5 to 7 minutes. And I'm thinking, this must be the biggest house for him to get from one side to over to this phone, because in my house, I'd be there in 30 seconds.
Right.
Assuming I'm going to do this call, even if I'm going to hang up on the guy.
Yeah.
And he was very defensive at first, like, what do you want? And when I told him, immediately, like, you could see the defense mechanism evaporate. So, let me tell you about this kid. When he was 4, we did this. When he was 8, I would take him out to do this. His uncle's like this. My brother, we do this. We used to catch bricks in Mississippi doing this. And you get way more than you bargain for if you just have a genuine conversation.
Right.
Kind of like what you and I are doing today. We didn't know about each other as much as we do now. But Garnett and Kidd, very similar style conversations. Sports plus versus just about sports. They completely melt down and they talk to you as humans, which for me, sociologically, was always fascinating because they're depicted so differently in ads and TV and by the broadcasters, all that.
Well, KG, I mean, that was Minneapolis. I mean, that was the boy.
That's true. So you would like him too.
They loved him. I wasn't a big fan, but he was everywhere. He was like LeBron was to Ohio.
That's right.
That's it was just point. Like he was the guy. He'd come up there and go wham and smack the stuff together in front of the guys at the desk.
Yeah.
I mean, it was always it just always had a smile on his face.
He had a good personality.
Great personality.
Yep.